I did it. I think that actually worked. Oh no. So I don't really understand what happened before. I knew this buying the car. These sway bar end links, the threads on them are completely sheared off. Like it's gone. On both sides, it just split. So I bought new ones. I'm gonna replace both of these, and hopefully the bolts are still on the car. And I started off with this repair because I knew this would be the easiest repair. All I have to do is take the new end links, unbolt the old ones, and bolt the new ones right in. As easy as that, right? No. So the problem right now is the sway bar end links are just rotating, but the nut is still fixed in place. And then here the nut is rotating with the end link, and I think the part that holds the metal piece that it's supposed to be attached to the end link might have come off. So it's all just spinning freely, but it's not actually unscrewing it. And then here the end link is rotating freely, but the bolt isn't moving, so nothing's happening. This is quite frustrating. I might have to just buy a new sway bar if I can't get these off. Aha, there's a hex bolt that holds it together, not the actual bolt. The end of the last episode left me feeling much more confident about my abilities to fix all the problems with my car and not really get stuck along the way. And especially with the episode before that being stuck on the differential, this was really hard to be stuck on a bolt again. Something no one warned me about working on old Miata is that everything's always rusted in place or just not gonna ever come loose. So I think I'm just gonna find a stock used sway bar that doesn't have end links glued to it. I got something in the mail. Some bulbs to replace for the dash. In the dash, there's apparently 4 bulbs that light up the whole gauge cluster, but it seems like one of them's out. It may be a little hard to show in the day, but if I turn on all the lights, you can kind of see a reddish tint all the way here that stops here and then comes back in here. And so it seems like one of the bulbs might be out, so I'm going to try and open this up for the first time and place all 4 while I'm at it, so I don't have to do it again. And once again, I shouldn't have been surprised how easy all this came apart. I'd already taken apart the shifter mechanism and the center console, as well as the door card last episode. So with a few bolts and a few clips, I got pretty much everything off in like 5 minutes. And when I pulled them out, I was surprised to find that the bulbs weren't actually red or going through red glass. They actually had a piece of red plastic covering the bulb to create that color. No, this is an issue. The bulb that's out looks like it might have already been replaced. It looks like it has red coloring in the glass and not like the little red condom rubber cover. So I can replace it now, but it's just gonna be a white spot instead of a red. It's so annoying. Well, it definitely fixed my issue, but now that part is actually brighter and all pinkish. But I'm gonna have to find one of those red rubber covers and then take this whole gauge cluster apart again. Okay, so I finally got both the fill and the drain plug on the diff loosened by a shop to save me money and blood. So I'm gonna retry filling the diff today, now that the bolts have been loosened. I really wasn't sure how I was gonna get my differential open after I struggled so much on episode 2. But luckily my local auto shop was able to help me out and crack those 2 bolts open, so I was able to get moving with my diff fluid change. Yay! Yeah, yay is an understatement. This was a huge deal to me. I struggled on this bolt for a few hours the previous week. Alright, this feels good after how much I struggled trying to get this off a week ago. Alright, so I'm just going to clean it up, put the drain plug in, and then fill it up. Nothing's coming through! It never ends. There we go. Finally. Oh, and great, the pump is leaking fluid too. Ah, done. Look how nasty this fluid is. It's just black. And then here's some leftover of the new fluid in the tube. Like, it's just light yellow. Oh, finally. All the three main fluids have been changed. This felt incredible. After so much struggle, I finally accomplished my goal. Finally. And after this, I actually got a little bit sidetracked. See, my car lives in this shed in the backyard of this rental house that I'm in that we all affectionately call Murder Shed because it's so dirty and terrifying. So I want to take a few minutes to at least clean it up so it's a bit more nicer and usable. So after I cleared out some of the stuff, I found that there was actually a window in the shed. So I opened that up so I can actually get some natural light in. And then I cut off some of the wooden planks that were protruding out and had actually hit my door already. And also bent all these nails so they wouldn't poke me in the future. And finally, I wanted to leave this window open because the natural light really helped de-murder shed the murder shed. So I put a window screen on top of it so I wouldn't have to worry about bugs or animals getting in. And the shed was so much more nicer to use from then. Today I'm finally doing the most requested work in my Reddit comments, which is a headlight restoration to get rid of all these foggy headlights. So I'm using a Sylvania headlight restoration kit that I got off Amazon for about $20. But I also learned later on that you really don't need a dedicated kit. You can just wet sand it going down the grits and then finally coat it with some sort of UV protectant so that it doesn't just yellow again in a few months. But the kit was pretty easy to use. I just applied the UV coating and I'm letting it sit. And wow, I was amazed how much of a difference that this made in the look of the car. There's a couple of sounds I want to take a look at. The one that appears to be the easiest is this little chirping sound I have when the clutch is not pressed down. And it goes away when I press the clutch in. And the internet says that it's where something called, I think, the slave rod cylinder meets the clutch fork. Just needs to be greased up, and it's like a 5-minute job. So I'm going to pull out the car, get under, and take a look. And while I was under here, I found a pretty bad leak under the transmission. It looked like it was oil, and I can't tell if it's coming from the transmission or engine. But this is something I'm going to have to address in the future. Also, I believe this is what I'm in here to grease. Problem is, it's so blocked off with all this bracing, it's going to be a pain to get to. Watch me totally just get grease everywhere. And like everything in these videos, I have no clue what I'm doing, so I just coated the entire thing in grease because I figured I can't really go wrong with that. Alright, let's see if that does it. Alright, here it is all slathered up. I have no clue if that's going to work, but if this is what they meant by slather it up, I think I achieved that part. Alright, moment of truth. Still there. I think it's going away. I'm gonna press it in. It's still kind of there. It's gone. I press it in, let it go. I think it's gone. Press it in, let go. It's very lightly there. I wonder if it just needs a bit more driving and a bit more clutch use so that the lube kind of moves around. I think I might have fixed most of it. Maybe let me just press the clutch a couple of times. I think that did it. This is a pretty big moment. I think that actually worked. Felt good to get this fixed. Wow. I don't hear it. Sweet. All right. That feels good. It definitely was as easy as everyone said. I just used some high temperature grease I got from AutoZone. I'm gonna go take it for a drive and see how it sounds. It's gone, finally. Man, this feels good. Man, this is nice. The car feels better. No sound. Man, I got so used to that chirping. Wow, the roads are empty. Probably because it's Thanksgiving. Man, it makes me so much happier. I'm so used to letting out the clutch and getting the little chirp going on. Ah, so worth it. And it worked perfect! So on to the second sound. There's been this horrifying screech that I get mainly when turning and sometimes under braking. That sounds like this. So I did some research and I started looking underneath the wheels to see if I could see anything that looked obviously wrong. Mainly looking for something worn out or rubbing that might produce that metal on metal sound. Oh no. And then I found this. Almost every single one of the ball joints in my front suspension had these cracked rubber boots which used to hold in the grease that would keep this ball and socket joint lubricated. And they were all broken and I don't know for how long. So as if my maintenance list wasn't already long, now I had even more things to add to it. Okay, but I'll get to that later. So back to the horrifying screech that I'm trying to diagnose. So basically what my research has kind of shown me is that there's a couple things that could be causing the screeching sound. It could either be a bad wheel bearing, a bad ball joint, which is basically a joint where the wheel pivots on when it turns, or a tie rod, which is the part of the steering rack that actually holds on to the wheel. So that pulling in and out is what turns the wheel, and that joint there might be bad. Or lastly, this dust shield, the piece of metal behind the rotor. Sometimes apparently that can bend and it seems fine here. I'm going to take a closer look, but that can apparently bend and scrape on the rotor and cause that screeching sound as you're moving. And that would explain like the grinding sound that comes only when I'm moving, because the rotor itself is always rotating and that scratching can make sense. The other joints wouldn't make as much sense because there's not any rotation or movement consistent with the wheel spinning. So that's why I thought maybe it could be the wheel bearing or the dust shield touching it. But from what I can tell, the wheel bearing is fine. When I try to move this whole assembly, I don't hear any clicking or there's no movement either. So that ball joint is probably fine right now, but the fact that those boots are broken is not good and probably means they need to all be replaced. While I'm at it, as if I didn't have enough problems, I'm looking at the tires, and the date code is from 2018. Looking at it now, and I'm not so comfortable driving on these anymore. Take a look. You can kind of see a little bit of cracking there, and that goes all the way around the wheel, all the way around all wheels. So that's quite concerning. So I might just have to buy new wheels and tires because I've been wanting smaller, lighter wheels, although it would be cool if they were a bit wider. So I might just buy all of those, but yeah. Oh yeah, and then I can still see the leak dripping. Yeah, so with how all of this was going, I wasn't expecting the repair to be easy either. Oh, well that moves it. Ugh. Wow. But that was it. So today was interesting. I went to the Mazda dealer to order some of the suspension parts, and then I'm ordering the rest online from 949 Racing. So I guess I'm going to have to do a suspension rebuild. But on the other hand, I did fix my screeching sound. It turned out it was simply the splash shield, the metal plate that's behind the brake rotor. Must have been touching the rotor. All I did was just push it back by hand. That fixed it. I just took a 20-minute drive. I didn't hear that sound even for a second. And that makes the car so much more enjoyable because I don't feel like it's falling apart when I'm trying to just make simple turns. So it feels really nice to no longer have the main two sounds that sounded weird. So tomorrow I'm picking up a couple of ball joints from the dealership, but I probably won't be able to work on the suspension until next week because the other parts that I'm ordering online won't be here for a few days. In the meantime, I have kind of gone off the deep end, and I think I'm going to buy new wheels, tires, and coilovers. The money pit is very real. I'm gonna get the new wheels, the Advanti Storm S1s, the new tires, Continental Extreme Pro Contact Sport 02, the 205 50/15 tire size, and now I've started looking into coilovers since Flying Miata has a couple on sale this weekend. But it looks like I'm gonna end up going the Meister R Zeta CRD. I didn't really ever feel like I needed to get new suspension, but this morning I went on a long drive and I was really starting to notice that the suspension crashes quite frequently over bumps and at the bottom of hills. It's just not confidence inspiring. And especially after fixing these sounds and realizing how much better it feels to drive when the car feels more capable and not like it's falling apart, I think it's worth just getting brand new coilovers. It looks like this next week of work on the car will specifically be working on the suspension, which I've never done before, so that will be interesting. But man, this really is a money pit like they said. But it's fun, it's rewarding. Alright.